Hey,
We're
I'm
live.
Douglas. Yeah, we're live. I'm Douglas Ferguson,
I'm John Fitch.
and man, we're here to talk about the Innovators Community Learning Lab that we'll both be running on April 29th.
Sorry, I have a device that's making an odd noise, but that happens on online meetings.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, there.
Yeah,
And
it's
so,
no.
man,
Thanks, Douglas. We're excited about how a lot of our meeting mantras that we've been successful in running lots of meetings in person, how actually well they translate online. I think in some cases it's even better.
absolutely. And instead of going so into these kind of online or virtual specifics, we're just going to get down to first principles and talk about what it makes for a meaningful meeting.
Yeah, and I think at the heart of the mantras, like good mantras, which I think we are going to be able to show each participant how to design your own mantras because you need to develop them yourselves just like we developed ours.
That's
But
right.
yeah, and at the core of ours is honoring the fact that what makes a meaningful meeting is each one of us in the meeting having a meaningful experience. So it's not just one meaningful meeting, it's however many participants are in there. Let's say it's 8. You need to make 8 meaningful meetings because each person is having their own experience.
That's right. And that's what we talk about, reading the room. And I think if you dissect what we're going to do on the 29th, it's really about sharing 4 of our favorite mantras from our 10 meeting mantras, and we'll explain the thinking behind those mantras and why they're important. And as you walk through those mantras, those kind of rules and principles by which we meet and have good meetings, we're going to help you design your own mantras. So simultaneously, while you learn our mantras, we'll be applying them to a design practice for you to come out with your own.
I like that you said design practice because we're big fans of making sure that the meeting not only has a purpose, but that you're doing something in the meeting. It's not just a status update. If it's just a status update, you've pretty much determined it's not going to be a meaningful meeting because that could have been an email or a write-up. And so these design activities that we're going to do allows each one of us to embody that mantra's philosophy. And you can either like the name of that mantra yourself and maybe you just copy paste it. Hey, all for it. But you may need to reword it so that's more meaningful for your culture, and you wouldn't know how to reword it if you didn't experience it.
That's right. And we'll also be going over the 4 mantras: contribute, value, or leave, do the work in the meeting, disagree and commit, and one of my favorites, always capture room intelligence.
Mm. That's one thing that I think virtually has been more powerful is that you're on the device already. And so whether you grab a quick screen capture or you take out your phone and take a photo, or if you're working in Mural, which is a digital sort of whiteboarding tool, it's way more than that. But if you're using Mural, like you are capturing in real time, right? The browser is just saving it. And that's really nice. Whereas in our physical workshops that we've had to do in the past, you, me, and anyone who's facilitated has to like remember, pull out my iPhone or my tablet and capture what's happening here. Whereas now we can capture so much of that intelligence leveraging the fact that the meeting is on a digital tool.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm really excited to also be sharing out Control Room, our tool for collecting feedback and running virtual meetings. And I think having that ability to quickly not only look at the content that was generated during the meeting, but then also be able to reflect on what people are thinking and the sentiment they're carrying into the hallways post meeting.
Yeah, the feedback tool that we built for ourselves, I think, is one of the greatest investments that we are going to make to our culture, but I think our users as well, because it guarantees that after each gathering that you're using it to also level up yourself as the facilitator, but also as an organization. So I'm curious, Douglas, in your own facilitator practice, since you and I have both facilitated a ton of meetings, what piece of feedback throughout the years are you the most thankful for that came out of some of your facilitation?
Gosh, there's been so many. It's like picking a favorite child or something, It's like, and they all build upon each other. So picking one specific item and kind of thinking of it as the holy grail is almost absurd, because I feel like there's just so much to know and so much to lean on in a practice of facilitation. But maybe just I would say any and all feedback that's related to active listening, making sure that to take the time and slow down for those people that need to be heard, and need a little extra time to be recognized.
That's brilliant, because that also goes into this whole shift we've seen with COVID-19 to virtual. You and I have been power users of these virtual meeting tools because some clients we've worked with, we have to. So we're used to them. And I think it's easy to assume that all people we're interacting with online also know them, but that's very, very far from the truth. And so I've seen that. We've been humbled by making sure there's enough boot up time and training time for not only what we're going to do in the meeting, but literally, here's the tool, here's the features, here's how you do this, here's how you don't do that. And that's been valuable. Mine has been, I have in some cases, good habits, but I learned in meeting context, bad habits. From being born and raised in a small town, you have like a farm voice, because on a farm, you got to talk really loud because there's a tractor running or a loud piece of machinery, or you've got to yell across the pasture. And so my default is this very like theater level projection of my voice. And in a small room or with a microphone right next to my face, I have to be conscious of that. And that's one very interesting piece of feedback, is basically people saying, hey, you don't have to talk so loud. And I'm thankful for that, because not only has it forced me to learn to speak softer, by speaking softer, I think more slow and calm, which is a byproduct I would have never thought of. So I bet Douglas, with your active listening improvement, that there's been some adjacent improvements that are sort of children of that level up, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was my remark earlier. It was like trying to pick a favorite, right? Because I feel like every experience leans and ladders onto the next, and you get a little nugget here, and then now that's like a cornerstone to put other stuff on top of, and so they're all just building pathways to more understanding and more ability. And that's kind of how I've always just approached life and my career in general. It's like how I'm just a lifetime learner, and I think we both share that in common for sure.
Yeah, and you and I could sit here for 10 more hours talking about meeting culture and virtual tools, but I think what's going to be way more rad than you and I just talking about it is this session that we will go through our mantras and allow participants to embody it. I think that's going to be more meaningful, because as much as they'll be coached by us, we're going to be coached by them, because they have some intelligence that hasn't been captured yet.
That's right. And they'll get to learn from their peers. So this is not going to be a webinar. We're going to, in fact, we have to use Zoom meetings so that we can use the breakout rooms. We'll be inside breakout rooms. We'll be using Mural. You'll learn about our mantras. You'll get to practice creating your own and hearing what others come up with. And, the beautiful thing about these types of workshops is that you'll walk away with an experience that no one else will be able to recreate, because it's all about what emerges based on those participants that you had in that cohort. And so it's going to be really special. I'm really excited to be co-hosting this with John. And thanks so much, Hans, for having us here on Innovators Community Learning Lab, April 29th.
See y'all there.
Awesome. Some of that country farming voice coming back in. Good day, y'all.
Good day.